everybody. Welcome to the penultimate, the 23rd out of 24 Aldi Advent Wine Calendar days. This is a Sauvignon Blanc from California. It's the second one that I've had. The Sauvignon Blanc grape, of course, kind of known for taking the characteristics of its sort of fermentation process. California ones kind of tend to not spend as much time on the skins as usual, so they tend to be a little fruitier than old world ones. And New Zealand Sauvignons have apparently a whole history of having to move from one island to another, which caused them to kind of sit on the skins for a long time and get this kind of sort of whole different flavor. Anyway, but we got a California Sauvignon Blanc. Nice green grapey smell. Kind of fruity tropical smells. I might be having it a little too cold. Kind of round it out. Definitely a little bit of acidity. It's a pretty high acidity grape. It's good. It's nice. Decent body. Yeah, that's pretty good Sauvignon to kind of finish things off with. I think it's like a 13%er. Yep, 13%. So it's a pretty big boy. Let's see, what else was I gonna? I guess there was just a viticultural study done where they did DNA analysis of a lot of different varieties and wild grapes from different regions, and it's now becoming pretty clear that sometime in like the after the Bronze Age, but like post-Homeric Greece is probably when almost all sort of modern wine variety grapes were bred from fruit table grapes that came out of Central Asia and then interbred with native wild grapes that hadn't been domesticated, that kind of clung to the edge of the fields. And because those grapes had a lot of advantages in those hybrids had sort of the ability to produce good fruit and the ability to survive in the local environment, those became sort of the preferred ones. So it's looking like Europe was probably not the inventor of the grape varieties and wines we sort of see today. It was probably a process that happened after that was introduced to Europe. So and of course there's plenty of people who are arguing with that, but the DNA evidence is looking pretty strong. We'll see in the years to come. So it's kind of interesting, that whole, I'm always fascinated by like where, like how like oranges don't occur in nature. They're actually a crossbreed of other plants that was done in like India or Iran, how chickens were first raised to fight each other as part of like a religious ceremony, kind of like a foretelling of the future, right? They weren't originally raised to be fried and delicious. So that kind of history of all these things we think of and where they came from is sort of fascinating. I remember reading a really good historical novel about Rome, and there was like a murder in Lucullus's villa, and Lucullus was this famous Epicurean, who just wanted to taste everything, and he had like a cherry tree imported because it was during, we have written records that say it was during Lucullus's lifetime that cherries first made it to Europe, and the Romans had a fad for them and were just flipping their lids. Like, could you imagine if you never had a really juicy red cherry and you had one in a world without refined sugar and all that stuff? Man, you would be so you'd be spitting those pits everywhere.